As you're sitting there watching this video, you might think you're totally still, relatively speaking. But in fact, you, along with the entire solar system, are moving. Really fast at that. Our Milky Way galaxy is rotating at about 145 miles per second. Sorry officer, I didn't realize I was speeding. In Switzerland, you're not allowed to have just one guinea pig. The reason is that they're social creatures, and therefore must have a buddy. Everybody needs somebody, right? A small village in India has a very interesting tradition. Every time a baby girl is born, people there plant 111 trees in her honor. The bat is the only mammal that can fly. Nah, flying squirrels don't count, they just glide. Sorry little fellas, but you're just falling in style. Scientists believe that diamonds as big as jewels rain down on Saturn and Jupiter. The lightning burns up methane into a kind of carbon. They clump together and form graphite, which turns into diamonds that fall from the sky. Wait, don't I see Lucy up there? There's no sound in space. Yes, if you shout, nobody's going to hear you. And that's because there are no molecules in the vacuum of space for the sound waves to travel through. Astronauts in space can lose about 1% of their muscle mass each month if they don't stick to an exercise regimen lasting 2 hours every single day. Well, that'll motivate you. In Alaska, it's prohibited to whisper in someone's ear while they're moose hunting. Save your secrets for another time. It's estimated that for every human being on Earth, there are 1 million ants. I'll let you do the math while I scratch the sudden itchy feeling all over my body. Ew. The highest peak in our solar system is on Mars. At 15 miles high, Olympus Mons squashes our Great Everest like a bug. Or an ant. Forget about Roy G. Biv. There's no set numbers of colors in a rainbow. The reason is that each hue mixes seamlessly with the next one without a concrete boundary. Next time you see a rainbow in the sky, try counting how many colors you see. The average person spends about 1/3 of their life sleeping. Think about that the next time you want to sleep in on weekends. The size of your eyes never changes. It remains the same from birth, while your nose and ears keep growing. About 85% of people breathe out of just one nostril at a time. And depending on which nostril you're breathing out of in any given moment, it affects your whole body, and particularly your brain. The average person's nose produces about 3 pints of mucus a day. Most of it goes back into your throat and gets swallowed. Boy. And for your final nose fact of the day, rhinotilexomania is an obsessive-compulsive disorder of picking your nose uncontrollably. Don't ever keep a goldfish in a dark room. It'll become pale. Then it'll be asking you for a spray tan. Oh, brother. There's a disease called Werewolf Syndrome. It's characterized by abnormal hair growth all over the body. Oh! Female lions do about 90% of the hunting. So yeah, next time you imagine a lion on the prowl, you should really be thinking of a lioness. Footprints left on the moon won't disappear anytime because there's no wind. So that small step for man is still up there. Venus is a champ when it comes to volcanoes. It has about 1,600 major ones on its surface. However, none of them is known to erupt. There are more stars in the night sky than there are grains of sand on this planet. You might doubt that, but only because just a small portion of stars is visible in the sky. At any given moment, there are about 2,000 thunderstorms happening on Earth. Trust me, I counted. Okay, maybe I didn't, but still. Coca-Cola was the first commercial drink to be consumed in space. So that's one giant glug for the Atlanta-based soda manufacturer. Speaking of cola, the average American drinks about 45 gallons of soda a year. Whew, our poor stomachs. Actually, our stomachs do okay with all that soda pop. I mean, the hydrochloric acid in your stomach can dissolve metal after all. Cows can sleep while standing, but they can only dream lying down. What they're all dreaming about, though, is beyond me. About 40% of women apply body or hand cream at least 3 times a day. So, now you know. You might have heard that dust is 80% dead skin cells, but that's a misconception. 2/3 of dust comes from outside in the form of pollen and soot. The rest of it is either pet dander or just carpet or clothing fibers. That's not to say that you don't lose plenty of dead skin cells, some of which become part of the dust in your house. But that's just an insignificant fraction of the 9 pounds of dead skin you lose every year. The diameter of an aorta, which is the largest artery in the human body, is about the same as a garden hose. In New Zealand, babies often sleep on sheepskins. This is thought to help them gain weight faster and keep their body heat. The average cumulus cloud, that's the big poofy kind, weighs just over 1 million pounds. That's the weight of about 100 fully grown elephants floating above your head on a cloudy day. Most lipsticks contain fish scales. Actually, the substance is called pearl essence, and many brands today prefer to use an artificial version of it. Beware of the danger of ballpoint pens. Well, they're caps to be specific. Each year, about 100 people choke on them. Keep the pen out of your mouth, dummy! Next time you're planning to lick a stamp, think twice. Every time you lick one, you're consuming 1/10 of a calorie. Yeah, we can measure that. A snail can sleep for 3 years. So now I guess you can feel better about sleeping 1/3 of your life away. Dolphins sleep with one eye open. Boy, if I shared a house with sharks and barracuda, I probably would too. The youngest monarch in history was Alfonso VIII of Spain. He became king on May 17, 1886. That is, the day he was born. The electric chair was invented by dentist Dr. Alfred Southwick. See, I always knew there was a reason for my fear. Stewardesses is the longest word that can be typed using only the left hand. Go ahead, try it out. Now, typewriter is the longest word that can be made using the keys on only one row of the keyboard. There are only 4 words in the English language that end in DOUS: tremendous, horrendous, stupendous, and hazardous. Can you think of any more? How about making up a new one? Hey, maybe a really big duck with a green head could be called mallardus. Or not. 1 in 4 Americans has been on TV. I guess Andy Warhol was right when he predicted that everyone in the future will be famous for 15 minutes. Almonds are members of the peach family. Yeah, this is useful stuff. You might have heard of Deja Vu, the feeling you've experienced something before. But what about Deja Vu? That's when you feel like you've already dreamed a situation you might be in at the moment. Speaking of dreams, the average person has about 3 to 5 each night. It's just that you forget most of them as soon as you wake up. Sharks are the only fish that can blink with both eyes. But it's not to clean or hydrate them. They blink to protect their eyes while biting into their prey. In one recent study, most Americans who were asked what their favorite smell was answered banana. What about you? Do you love the smell of it? In 18 months, 2 rats can have 1,000,000 descendants. And not to be outdone, seahorses can have up to 2,000 babies in one litter. Here's one that'll annoy you. Mosquitoes can live perfectly fine on flower nectar instead of sucking your blood. In fact, it's only the females that bite humans, and they do it because they need blood to produce eggs. The largest flower in the world also happens to be the stinkiest. With a bloom of about 3 feet across and weighing roughly 15 pounds, the corpse lily is said to smell just like, well, the name says it all. Over half of the world's population have never made or received a phone call. Ah, a life without telemarketers. Imagine. 1,000,000 Earths could fit inside the Sun. By the way, the size of our Sun is quite average in comparison with other stars in the universe. If someone could fly a plane to Pluto, it would take them about 800 years. An 800-year-long flight? That sounds like my worst nightmare. Approximately once a year, an asteroid the size of a car enters the Earth's atmosphere. But don't worry, they always burn up before reaching the surface. Every year, the Earth's rotation slows down by about 1.4 milliseconds. So, if you've always wanted more hours in the day, just be patient. Very, very patient.